story with you. I have some friends and family that as soon as they say the word, that they say it's for yours, that they say Pamper Chef, they're like, oh, baby. And they know that they're down for about an hour when they say Pamper Chef. So they get come tonight, obviously, because they've already heard it enough. But I want to share with you my journey that started fast. My journey started almost 4 years ago. I'm coming up on 4 years this summer with Pamper Chef. Before that, I was a school teacher. I taught for 11 years. I'm going to keep this going through the slide. Ideas I case. Eventually, I'll be in the back of the room. Before that, I was a school teacher, and I taught for 11 years. And I was making so much money as a teacher that I just didn't know what to do with myself anymore. Okay. So that's not true, obviously. So at the time, my whole dream was to stay home and be a mom. From the time I was a little girl, I said, I have this dream to have 10 kids, which ended up being 2 after 2 were born, and stopped at that. And stopped at the daughter. If you have a girl, you know what I mean. And it stopped at 2, and I still had that dream to stay home, even after I had her. And I wanted to be the mom that stayed home, raised my kids, got them ready in the morning, took them to school, volunteered, made sure the teacher was doing everything all the teachers are supposed to do, because I was one of them. Go on field trips, pick them up from school. But I knew working full time that wasn't going to be possible. So I approached my husband when my daughter was 3 months, and I said, hey, I have an idea. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And he was completely on board with it. So 3 months into my piece, I was like, okay, this is so not me. I could not be a stay-at-home mom. My niece is adult, and I have a shopping addiction. If you know me, you would know I have a shopping addiction. If you don't, I love the store called Home Goods and TJ Maxx. So being on a full-time salary was fine, but then when we dropped to 1 income, it didn't work so well. And then it was a marriage issue. So I needed to compensate and do something for my 1 income. And I just needed to do something that could give me away and have some mommy time, because if you remember, I had a newborn and I had a 3-year-old at home. So that's when I began looking for something that was the perfect opportunity that would meet my family's needs as well as my own. And I remember someone saying to me, why don't you sell Pamper Chef? And I looked at them like, you're crazy, right? Like, cook for other people? Macaroni and cheese in the blue box thrown in with a hot dog? That was gourmet cooking for me at the time. I'm like, that's not going to work. I'm not cooking for other people. So, but for some reason, I couldn't quit thinking about it. I had had many Pamper Chef shows, as many of you in this room probably have. So I secretly began researching it, didn't tell anybody, and I found out that it was a family-driven company, and I absolutely loved many of the values that Doris Christopher had, especially when I found out she was a teacher, she had 2 kids, and she had the same goal that I had as far as wanting to stay home. So I decided to contact someone and get more info. Well, as you can probably guess, since I'm standing here talking to you, that the rest was history. In July of 2010, I decided to join Pamper Chef. I contacted everybody I knew because I was so eager to get going and get this business off and running to make it as successful as possible. What was shocking to me is in my first 90 days, I made enough to cover our house payment. So I was like, hey, cool, this is good, this is going well. My only hesitation is I thought, okay, it's going to sizzle at some point. I'm going to run out of people to hold shows, and my business is going to come to a halt. Well, here I am, almost 4 years later, with a fabulous team, and we're still going strong. So, in January 2011, that is when my real wake-up call happened, and I knew in my heart that I was going to officially resign because it was time that I had to tell my district that I was not going back to my teaching career. The other thing was Pamper Chef that month announced 2 trips, that they were going to be going to New Orleans and that they were going to be going to the Caribbean on a cruise. And I knew at that point I was going to be going on those trips. Because I remember as a teacher, there was no meeting where they said, hey, we're going to send you guys on trips. That did not happen as a teacher. I don't have to do that for us either. So I decided to make this my full-time career and give it my all. I was determined to take my husband and I on both of those trips. And I have to tell you right now, as of next month, my husband and I will have traveled 4 times with the Pamper Chef in less than 4 years. It has strengthened our marriage, and it has brought us closer all of our debt together. Grandpa Chef has. My Pampered Chef journey has led me to meet so many people, many who have become my very close friends. The one thing that's very cool is in the back, Billy. She is my mom. So I never get you calling her Joelle. Guess who it's like. But it's so cool having some team members. I also have my aunts on my team too. So it's been fun being their director. And that is also fun getting to do this as a family affair. But even more rewarding is the opportunity to still earn meaningful income without having to miss out on any of my special moments with my kids. 2 years ago, I have to share with you probably one of the most special things. Get through it without crying. I said practice is to practice, and I cry every time. I asked my son, every single year our family does a thankful tree in our house. And we fill out, we all have leaves. And my son Kyle was filling out his leaves. And I looked at his leaves when he was writing what he was thankful for. And on one of his leaves, he wrote, he was thankful that his mommy stays home. So I said, I don't think it gets any better than that. But here's the thing. I know now, though, that I'm still teaching. I never left teaching. I have this aha moment every single time I leave my meeting with my team. I go to shows and I teach families how to use our amazing products and help make dinner time a breeze. I'm teaching families the importance of eating together at the dinner table, just like they just talked about in that video, because that's where we learn the most about our families and friends. But the most fun for me has been teaching my growing team how to run a successful business and watch them build new teams of their own. And the other thing I have to make sure I clarify is that macaroni and cheese with the hot dog, that is a long history in our family. My family is now spoiled with a ton of fun and easy recipes because you can't help but be inspired to cook when you have Pampered Chef on your side. So,